Good morning, this is Michael May. As part of my volunteer work here on the island, I am a state certified water quality sampler. I have been certified now into my 9th year to do water quality sampling of one of 42 spots in the state of Florida, my spot being at the boat launch at Lover's Key at the Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve. Today is January the 6th, 2014. As part of my preparation for going out to doing the sampling, I have digital equipment that I have to calibrate right now, and I'll be out there in about 40-45 minutes to do the sampling. Daybreak is at 7:17 this morning, so I want to show you the process that I go through leading up to going out and doing my sampling. Here's the equipment that I'll be using this morning. This is my HANA pH meter and my HANA dissolved oxygen meter. Here are my sampling standards for pH, where I sample the accuracy of the pH meter. And here are the containers that will be used. The cooler, and in this case I have a test blank cooler standard that I'll be filling up with the same water from the back bay. Here is my form that I use. These are the parameters that we input. As you can see, I have checked off there Estero Bay. We check wind direction, speed, weather conditions at the time, if there was any rain overnight, local air temperature, the conditions of the water, the tide if it's coming in, my SECI, which is the depth meter, and what we're actually doing there is testing turbidity. We're trying to determine whether we can see the probe on the end, the weighted probe on the end of the rope, and we measure when it disappears and when it reappears in the water. Local water temperature, dissolved oxygen. As you can see, I've got my probe number down there already, my inside air temperature here in my kitchen, and pH as part of the process. And I'm going to work on that right now. I just filled up my 7 pH standard and my 10 pH standard into these cups. One is number 10, shown as 10, and the other one shows as a 7. So I've already done this, but I'll do this again for the camera. I already rinsed off the probe to begin with as part of the protocol. And I see that my pH standard shows 7.04, which is fine, as long as it doesn't exceed 6.88 on the low, 6.8 on the low, or 7.2 on the high. I'm good to go, no need to calibrate. I'm going to rinse off the pH meter probe, shake it off a bit, and put it into the 10 standard. .95, 9.96. And of course I dropped it on the floor. It always happens. I gotta do this again. Damn it. Okay, let's try this again. It's kind of tough filming and doing this. I'll have to clean that up in a minute. Okay, so now I'm back to testing using my standard, and it's showing 10.02, and that's good enough for this test. Put the cap back on. test is over. Here I've completed my calibration of my pH meter, showing that we've got a 7.04 and a 10.02. We also had to input the lot numbers for the actual standards that we use for both pH 7 and pH 10. In the field, I'll verify at the site the accuracy at the site of the pH meter by taking sample water of pH 7 from the lot. Now I'm going to calibrate my dissolved oxygen meter. I've taken the cap off of the probe, and here we go. And here I've inputted dissolved oxygen milligrams per liter. The check is 9.9 and dissolved oxygen is 120. So my pH result was 7.04, and I'll use 10.02 for my 10 pH. No need to calibrate. We're going to show in here that we, by the way, that we also put in the dissolved oxygen probe number, as well as a pH probe number. We're also going to input the lots for the sampling that we used for pH 7 and pH 10. It's pretty straightforward on calibrating this. You take the reading after letting the equipment stabilize, and you record that it's a 9.8, which is in milligrams per liter on the data sheet. Then you're supposed to press and hold the calibration button here. But you make sure that you get that recording, and that's 120. Knowing what your DO meter reading was when you press the calc button and comparing it to this chart, we would take the temperature that I recorded here in my kitchen at 21.3, rounded up to or down to the next whole number. So the calibration should actually show 8.915 right there at 21C. Here we have a calibration screw on the top. We take this off, and the little gold screw, we use that screwdriver, and we turn that until we get the right reading. And here we are calibrating. Supposed to have 8.915. 8.9 is good enough. It only does single digit anyway, that's the best you can get. Okay, so pretty much I'm ready to go now. I've got to load these back up, put some ice in these coolers, and I'm headed out to go to do my sampling. And I'm going to have an assistant today, a trainee who wants to volunteer to do this kind of work. Never met him before. First time I've had anybody with me in all these years, so we're going to see how it goes. See you out there. Got all my equipment packed up, ready to rock and roll. Well, on my way to my sampling spot, and I gotta tell you, it's been a long time since I've been out here in the fog. Frankly, I don't remember the last time. But here we go. My volunteer apprentice is a guy named Chuck Richardson. Like I said before, I never met him before, but we're going to see. Get to know the guy. Now we're on Lover's Key, and somewhere up here, I'll be making a left turn. It's crazy. Holy moly. And here we are. Thank God I know where I'm going. Lover's Key boat ramp at Carl Johnson Park. There's fishermen out here getting ready to go fishing. Putting their boats out. Here we go. This is my sampling spot. That's a gentleman that's going to be working with me today. Here are my sample cases. My blank water sample. Water. I have a hygrometer. And my bucket sampler, and inside there is my Secchi, which determines turbidity. Here we go. And here's my sampling spot, all the way out there on the end of the dock. My immediate objective right now is to get my sample in the bucket and get it into these opaque bottles right now. So here we go.
Okay, well I got 23.4 centigrade on the temperature.
There you go.
I don't know how long you wait for that to stabilize. You put
Yeah, you
this
wait a
in
few
the water,
minutes.
Or you put it in a bucket?
No, you take the cap off.
Yeah.
Don't twist, but pull. There you go. And just let it stabilize put it on and let it stabilize for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, this is Chuck Richardson. Say hi, Chuck.
Hey, how you doing?
There you go. And Chuck is working through the process with me to get everybody up to date. I immediately came in and filled up my water samples that are sensitive to light. They're already filled and under ice. They're not closed yet. There's a blank right there. There's the blank water that's going to be used for the control. I got my hygrometer set up in the burette that we're going to be using for... I've not done that yet. Here's my hygrometer that I use to determine salinity. It's a combination of the reading that is on the hygrometer itself, right at the meniscus, as well as the current temperature at the site. Here is my Secchi that I'm going to now throw in the water to measure the turbidity. We have got a calibrated rope attachment. And we're going to drop it in, and as I drop it in, I'm going to register when it disappears. So I've already got 1 meter. Let me see, 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and it's gone. So it's 1.3 to disappearing, and then the depth is 1.4, 1.5, 1.5. Okay, so you can see it disappear, and you can see it coming back up. So it's between 1.2 and 1.3 in clarity, and a total of 1.5 total depth of the water right now. As I've said, Chuck has already put the pH meter into the water, showing a pH of 8.07, temperature 19.8 so far. Okay. Here we've got our DO meter running. We're showing a 9.8. We're about to insert that into the water right now. You lay it right on the edge there. There you go. Fine. Any place you want. Yep. Take your time.
That technique on film, did you?
Oh yeah, I got the whole thing. I'm waiting for you to fall in.
Who maintains this cord storage?
Chuck is about to establish the time that he's putting the control into the containers.
We should probably have a pencil.
The hygrometer is registering 2.5, and I know from experience at the bottom of the meniscus 2.5, and that's really 1.025, which is one of the elements we need to determine our salinity. When Chuck gives me the stabilized water temperature, we'll look on a chart to determine what the salinity is here at the site.
19.6 degrees Celsius.
19.6 C, okay.
I mean, there's so much transfer of energy in this place. It's amazing.
Here's some of the locals coming by to say hello. And this is a tough life. Here it is, first week of January. There you go. Take a swig. Take a swig, I dare you.
It's good laxative.
Yeah. Well, we're having fun out here. We're learning as we go. Every day is a new learning experience here. It's kind of the way it is. Kind of the way it is.
That's right. Did you notice that my fingers never left my hands?
Yeah, I noticed. That was really awesome. Chuck has just done a whirl pack, which is the sampling, hold that up, Chuck, which is used to do fecal coliform analysis. There is a reagent in here, inside there, that mixes with the water as with some of our other samples. And he just did that to prepare to send up to the lab in Charlotte County. Here, as you can see here, we've pretty much got all of our information in that we needed. Pretty much done. As always, this is an exciting time getting this done. Typically takes me 40 minutes to do the thing from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our samples we've gotten together. We've got a nice pack on top. We've got various samples in here. This one here is actually one that we're going to be using for red tide. Okay, and this one here, as I just mentioned, is a fecal coliform, which is a process that has reagents in it. And this one will be incubated for a couple of days to measure the amount of bacteria in the water. So here we go, here we go. This is the Mike and Chuck show signing off here at Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve. We've done all of our sampling. We think we did a pretty good job. It's kind of hard to see out here today, but that's kind of the way it goes.
Exemplary job, Mike.
And you too, Chuck.
Yes.
You did a really good job. That's right. That's
right.
right. So anyway, we're going to sign off and have a good day. Thank you.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Here's a chart for all of Lee County. And my spot is right there. Right there. The Lovers Key State Park. And there's the boat launch right there. Right in the middle of the screen. At the Carl Johnson boat ramp. I'm at the DEP office right now. There are my samples I've dropped off. Here are other people's samples. And here's my sample for next month. Here's the timeline of the Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve, starting way back when. There's some flyers, stuff like that.